But it could have been a truck.
I thought I saw something on there that it was a try.
Well, actually, Wendy
Yeah, she posted the video.
because she saw it.
I think it was a try, but I'm like, dude, what are you running
All
from?
right, I think we'll get started. Good morning. We'll call this meeting of the Grant County Commissioners meeting today, May 6, 2024, 10 a.m. to order. And we'll be led in prayer this morning by Paul Brevard, Senior Pastor of First Friends Church of Marion, and led in Pledge Allegiance by Mr. Bardsley.
Good morning, council and citizens. I had this, my heart is heavy because our community is not united. And so I just call on them just to remember that peace comes first. It's peace that starts here amongst each of us that spreads to everyone else. So as this prayer is my prayer centering on peace. Heavenly Father, as we come here together, help us to be united in your peace. We call upon your wisdom and the discernment to understand that wisdom and apply it to each of our situations during this meeting. Keep us, bless us, and remind us that it's not about us. It's not about me. It's about us. Heavenly Father, you're so large. Help us to see outside of our own individual desires and to sense the unity of a community. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, approval of current claims. Let's go through those claims. I have claims of, let's see here, general. This was given a pre-approval by Ron Stewart. Claims of $132,924.55. Other is $37,851.76, and highway zero. Need a ratification on that this morning.
Just taking a look here. We have multiple. We've got two pre-approvals.
You want to box them all together? We can do that. We can do that. Moving on, we'll go to the next one of a general of $164,836.63. Other $221,637.55, and highway of $99,030.48 for a total of $485,504.66. And so I believe, is there another one there then? That one we need to,
We have one single pre-approval as well, and I would move to approve the two invoice edit pre-approvals as presented, along with the pre-approval dated 4/24/24 to CenterPoint Energy for $182.10.
Gotcha. Motion on the floor. I'll second that motion. Any discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Then we also have, believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Auditor, we have another one to do for a grand total down here of $580,000, is that correct? Mm-hmm. So this one we would need to have a motion on to go ahead and accept it, because this did not get a pre-approval of $297,000 for general, $297,799.71. Other is $261,885.31, and the highway of $21,127.54 for a total of $580,812.56. Any discussion on that?
No, sir. I would move to approve the invoice edit reports for May 6th as presented.
I'll second that. Any further discussion on that? No? All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
And we've already taken care of the center point there. So then we need to go to payroll, which was payroll number 9. Pre-approval was given on 4/23 of '24, pay dated 4/26 of '24 in the amount of $643,817.04. And I would need a motion for that.
Move to ratify payroll number 9 as presented.
And I'll second that. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I think that took care of everything there that we needed to do. We are in receipt of the monthly reports from the clerk of courts. And we have that.
You should have some sets of minutes in there too, sir.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Missed the minutes. We can do that. So we do have minutes. Let me pop over here, guys. Minutes from March 4th, from the County Commissioners' regular session, as well as March 18th. I would need a motion. I'm sure you've taken a look at those. I know I have too.
I think we all edited them. a little bit,
Yep.
so
I would need a motion to accept both minutes.
I would move to approve the regular session minutes of March 4 and March 18 as edited.
And I will second that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And again, I went ahead and talked about the clerk's report. We also have in here a treasurer's report as well. And let's see, is there anything else? Don't believe so. Okay, we'll go into communications, elected officials. Mark, I believe you have something, didn't you?
Just from the Drainage Board, that we will be getting a formalized kind of a recommendation, resolution for the commissioners to consider an amendment to the current solar ordinance after discussion with some of our local farmers and a tour. The need for a 150-foot setback was approved this last time by the Drainage Board, while the state law says that we have a 75-foot easement. We believe that there's probably precedent for allowing a setback off of the regulated drains in order to take care of that. That language will be coming to us probably next meeting for an application. So just want to give you a heads up.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Jarvis, do you have anything for us
I
today?
do not.
Okay,
Nothing to
okay. Let's go to any boards that would like to speak.
Bob's waiting in the wing over there.
Bob, Mr. Jackson. I can't see you, there's a post in the way.
Good morning.
Morning.
We'll be sending out our monthly briefing this afternoon, so we're working on that as we speak. A couple things though, springtime in Indiana, where we've got potential storms tomorrow, looks like, and into Wednesday. Some today, but looks like tomorrow and Wednesday is the greater threat. So there again, we're watching that with the National Weather Service. We did get a briefing this morning. We'll have another one this afternoon. So if it gets, if that increases any in as far as severity, in the next briefing, we'll put something out. Other than that, I think we are ready for election day tomorrow, and everything seems to be on track. So
Good, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? Kevin, you had anything for us today? All right, Marcus? I see Mr. White, is he here?
Yes,
Is he back there?
right here.
Oh, he's hiding behind Dell.
Oh, good morning, Bill.
Morning.
All right, I got 2 items for you this morning. The first one is for additional scramble pads for the Sheriff's Department. Captain Haley put in a request for some additional scramble pads. It's basically the devices that people use to badge in.
Okay.
And he was needing a couple put in over at the detention center. Because they got some stuff going over there. And then there was one scramble pad where they basically took one off of one location and put it somewhere else, and now they need to, put one back. So I got a quote from Stanley because they're the ones that manage and operate that system. So the total cost for labor, parts, and everything, and it's a one-trip fee, was $6,418.91.
Okay.
So, that's,
That's the answer to my question, Marcus.
yeah, so if you have any questions, yeah, there you go. If you gentlemen have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
And that is where we're
Getting the money?
I don't know. Like I said, we had Captain Haley, he reached out, and I know Justin, he asked me to do it as well, so I don't know if there's a budget for it, or
Okay.
we just get approval and we work with the sheriff's department, and we'll figure out where that money comes from.
Okay.
I'm assuming we've already taxed jail maintenance.
I have to go in there and look. Do you remember?
I haven't, I don't know. Sorry.
I want to say we only have $20,000 or $40,000
In that
on
account.
that particular account. Then we have general maintenance
Right.
to draw from.
I will check. You're correct, though. There is a separate 20 that floats out there aside from the vendor payments.
And that usually is for dryers or other equipment that had gone down. So I'm not sure where we are with that account.
Okay.
That'll be the first one that we go to. And if you are considering it, if you would, pending attorney review, please.
Okay. Any other comments on that? All right. All right, so we have an ask in front of us from the IT department of $6,418.91 for some sort of badge keypad type thing that they need entrance into, requested by the sheriff's department, correct?
Correct,
That's what we
yes.
have in front of us.
I would assume with the other doors that are being used that this is fairly high traffic area that needs that badge.
Correct. Yeah, it was an area that didn't need it before, but now it does.
And also nobody over there to open the doors.
Right.
Sheriff's coming up.
Okay.
Just so you guys will be aware, the scramble pads are used a lot, and what's happened is they break every year they go down. So what we're wanting to do is we want to replace them with the badge swipe that lasts a lot longer. We replaced a couple last year, they need to replace again this year, so we figured it'd be cheaper in the long run to go ahead and replace it with, or we could use our badge to swipe in and out. Because the scramble pad, the way it works, it scrambles the numbers and you type in your code.
Gotcha.
And every officer, the deputy has a code for it, so it's used quite a bit. So we're hoping this saves the county money in the long runs.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Sheriff.
I definitely see the need, and I would move to approve the purchase pending our attorney review of the agreement and the funds available out of one of our two maintenance funds.
Okay. So a motion on the floor to accept the contract pending approval. And I'll second that. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
Chair's ready for a motion.
I gave it to
You
you.
gave it to me. I'll second that, and we'll go ahead and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and motion carried. All right.
All right, well, then the next thing I have for you gentlemen is, I got pricing on different phone systems. So we've been working on this since the start of the year. And it took a little bit longer, just due to the fact we have 911 services here. So we had to find systems that would be able to interact with the 911 system and transfer calls to it for the they call them administrator calls, if I understand it right, Kevin. So that was one of the big holdups. So really, the big thing, we were just kind of looking at either upgrading our on-prem system or going with a cloud-based system. And after reviewing the numbers and stuff, the cloud seems to be the best way to go. It'll allow us to be more flexible and be able to cut out a lot of costs with buying equipment, and it'll also allow us to eliminate a lot of the desk phones. So that way we can eliminate that and get that out of the, having to upgrade those every so often. So the two cloud providers we looked at, there was a third, but they wasn't able to integrate with the 911 admin call system, so they had to back out. So I just got AT&T Office at Hand, and then there is Level 365. They were both had very good proposals. Ultimately, we wound up deciding AT&T was the best bang for the buck. So per month, they come in a little bit lower at $4,574.56, whereas Level 365, they come in at $5,036.50. And with Office at Hand, they also included a $9,500 credit for the professional services, and the professional services were $8,500, so they basically waived the professional services piece of it. So the one-time costs, we had a count of 60 phones that we have to have here on site. So this is like more for the common areas and stuff like that, where somebody doesn't have a dedicated computer or desk. They might work on one floor of the jail and work somewhere else the next day. So those phones, putting them on the floors, that just kind of eliminates that issue and all that stuff. The nice thing about going with AT&T, it'll also allow us to move to eFax. Both systems are capable of that. With eFax, it was like $1 per line, which I know we're paying quite a bit for our fax lines, so that'll save quite a bit of cost there, and that hasn't been factored in. Yeah, so that's what we're looking to go with. So we'll have a one-time cost for the phones. It's $8,852, and that would come out of my equipment budget. Then the monthly cost, which is the $4,574.56, that would come out of mine.
So what are we paying now?
What are we paying now?
Yeah.
So with our phone system, we paid for it and we own it, and then it's basically we just pay a couple grand a month, I believe, for our SIP trunk. I know Justin and April, they pay that bill. So, but the phone system, it's kind of funny. I actually started working here in 2014. That was actually one of the first projects I had starting out here was putting that in. So the phone system's coming up on 10 years old.
10 years.
Yeah. So, because we did get quotes to refresh the existing system and to upgrade it. And basically, we'd have to buy new servers because the current ones are no longer supported. And it's just the cost, that initial cost is really high. And we're not going to have as much flexibility with, when the internet goes down, because it's tied to the AT&T SIP trunk that's here on site. Whereas with the cloud system, it's in the cloud, and we currently have 2 internet connections now. So if one goes down, the phones, they might blip for a second, but they'll come back up on the new one. And it's a monthly fee. So there's no contracts or anything that I've seen on it, so we can have the county attorney double check it and stuff, but that's, I mean, that's kind of what made us lean more towards it.
Okay. Has our county attorney taken a look at this?
Not yet, so I'm just looking to get your gentleman's blessing and then have the pending county attorney review.
Mr. Satoff, you're the, what do you think? I mean, is this?
I couldn't tell you what we currently pay now. I have to go back and look at the bill. I'd also be interested to see what we pay for this Red Sky Emergency Services. Do you know
$1,800 a year.
how much?
$1,800.
Yeah, we have a Cisco SmartNet renewal, and that includes updates and stuff for the phone system, and that's about $8 or $9 grand, if I remember right. And that's something that could fall off too and be put towards this as well.
So this $1,800 a year is included in this AT&T bill?
Separate.
Yeah, it's separate.
So what the Red Sky does is that we upload all of our phone numbers in the county to that the county building uses.
Okay.
And when a employee calls 911 from a county phone, it then provides that information to dispatch as to location, building, floor, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because AT&T, with the new technology, they don't have the ability to receive that information. So all of our 911 calls go through Red Sky before they come back.
Yeah, but with the new system, they handle all that, and it's included with it. We also pay around $6,000-7,000 for Informacast, which is our emergency notification system for the panic buttons. And AT&T has a system that comes included with it as well. So if we want, they support it, so we can integrate it in there with it, or we can decide to go with AT&T's notification system and eliminate that cost as well.
I mean, now we're driving down our cost.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of trying to get down through here.
Yeah.
Even though we're going to be spending maybe another $2,000 a month, what I'm seeing is we're actually saving money in some other areas that AT&T provides, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And the nice thing is, since AT&T, they manage our SIP trunk and everything, they'll be able to facilitate the porting and all the setup and stuff, and we'll be able to do testing and all that good stuff. Whereas, with a third-party provider, I mean, AT&T will work with them, but AT&T has a tendency to move very slow. I know, like, when we had numbers poured over, we had to put in, like, a request, and it took 30-45 days for them to move. So with it all being in one place, it should make things go a lot quicker for us.
And when things go down, you've only got one person to call instead of vendors trying to.
Right. And the other thing that, made us lean more towards AT&T is basically the phones, instead of having a desk phone, you'll have an app on your computer and you'll be able to do all your calls through that. The nice thing is, since we have an AT&T internet circuit that acts as our primary, they're able to guarantee quality of service. So basically, when that traffic goes out, our system over to AT&T, they see that traffic and then they route it to their phone network. So it ensures we have good quality and all that good stuff.
Good.
So.
Comments?
It was a little bit foggy at first. I'm liking more what I'm seeing now. And of course, we can build this in the 25 budget as we're ready for that. We've got the funds pretty much right now as is.
Correct, yeah.
So it's not like we're seeking appropriation or we're having anything and we're saving money. It's working itself to a motion.
That's kind of what I'm.
Yeah, and the other.
I was like you at first. It's like.
And the other thing I'd like to add is with the eFax, once we get this system in, we'll be able to port over the old analog or fax lines. There's about 80 or 90 of them, and I know they cost a lot of money per month. I think, Justin, you were saying it's usually $3,000-4,000 per month, and basically we'll look to shrink that down to about $80, $90 a month.
Wow.
So, so instead of people getting faxes out of the copier, it can go to their email or it'll go to a program on their computer.
Okay.
This is, I mean, a large project, right? I mean, what's the timeline? Like,
So once we get this going, I'd imagine we'll probably start working on it in 3 to 4 weeks. But I mean, it'll probably be summer, maybe early fall by the time it's all deployed. Because they'll probably want to do testing and all that good stuff. So,
It'll be seamless though, right? We won't be losing things and then putting them together and losing more things and having to put them back together. It'll be a
No.
seamless type of transition.
no, and with us being with AT&T, they can, while we wait for them to port stuff over, they can forward the numbers and stuff to the new system. So that way, if we wanted to have one office switched over, we can move an office over, test it out, see what the kinks are, and then as we work our way through, we'll be able to get everybody moved over and have any kinks ironed out.
Does this affect you at all, Mr. Hicks?
So I was the main reason that the third vendor got to drop out. All of our non-emergency calls route through our headsets, the same ones that we use for the 911 calls and the radios. So my staff do not have to use a headset and a handset to talk on the phone. So with this proposal, those will still route to the headset. So my staff will be able to use the radio, the 911 phone, and the admin phone hands-free.
Yeah, the way I understood it was AT&T, there's a piece of equipment that acts as like the bridge between the 911 system and the admin calls, is what they call them. And there's only a few specific ways you can connect to that system. And like I know level 365, they were going to have an appliance, and that was going to include a monthly cost as well with it, and that's just another fail point.
Yeah.
And with AT&T, they said, because we're going AT&T to AT&T, they said they can do things on the back end and just have those calls go, instead of it coming here, it'll just go straight to the 911 system.
Okay. And so that's going to be all county phones, highway department,
Yep.
everybody?
Yep, everybody.
Okay.
And the nice thing about it is they also include mobile apps as well. So if, somebody wants to be able to make calls from their a county phone number or something, they can sign in and they'll be able to do that as well. I'll get the voicemail transcriptions and all that good stuff.
Well, it sounds like a kind of a no-brainer type thing, right? At this point, after hearing everything.
But we don't have the original agreement or anything to sign off.
Again, so our attorney has not taken a look at this, correct?
Correct, yeah, not yet.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things, I mean, that's what they gave me. So, but I can get the agreement and get that to Kyle.
And in the future, Marcus, if you can get that to us before the meeting,
Okay.
where we have a little bit of time to digest before we come in.
Right.
It'd be a lot better than sitting through and reading it here.
Sure.
And understand exactly what
Yeah,
you're doing. I mean, your explanation of what you've
No.
given us today is some good stuff. I mean, it really is. And
No, but you're right. I'm so used
No,
to
that's okay.
coming up and asking for, that.
yeah, I just,
Well,
go ahead.
I'm happy to make a motion that we proceed with AT&T Office hand phone system cost breakdown as presented, as we have the agreement and the attorney signs off on it, I'd move to give the president authority to sign off on that.
I would second that. I think your presentation was great. Like I say, it'd be nice to have it just a little bit earlier
I'll
and
keep
stuff
that,
like that,
I'll
okay?
definitely keep that in mind.
Especially something this big, it's
Right.
quite a bit of money every month. But the way you've explained it, it's actually gonna save us money in the long
Yeah,
run.
because there was savings in there because there's a lot of that bill you guys pay, so.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've done your homework with other departments to make sure that other departments are there as well and stuff.
Right, I've been working on it since January.
Okay.
So it's been a work in progress for sure. The 911 part of it definitely was a pain point, but we had to make sure it worked with it in AT&T since that's their system anyway.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense.
Okay, did you put that in the form of a motion?
We had a motion and you
And I supported it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thanks for your work on that, and we'll do that pending approval for the attorney.
And then was there a gentleman that had a question for, I think it was the,
I don't know, is Mr. Creed still in the room? You had asked for a statement, and I want to get you with this guy so you can ask him the questions afterward.
I wasn't here, my wife was here, but I can reference the question. She was the one that actually wrote you guys to.
Yeah, since we don't have it on,
We came across both of our emails.
why we don't have it on the agenda, what I wanted to do is connect the questioner with the guy who made the statement, so you guys can talk about that.
Well, we were talking about archiving emails
We'll have to do it afterward.
and those type of things in the last meeting. Service, one was like 4,000, the other was like 14,000. You guys were debating it. You guys with me?
yeah, so, because we already archive emails with Microsoft, so basically with the Archive Social, they have a platform for FOIA requests that basically it allows us to take those archived emails from our Microsoft system and input them into that system, so that way we can make it more readable, and stuff like that.
The issue was in the conversation at the last meeting, was you used the word to clean up the emails. And then right after that, to redact them. Okay, there's an awful lot that's going on right now politically, not just here, but statewide and national. So they're talking about changing the integrity of the emails and the wording and just even a pronunciation.
Right.
Did that.
No, and-
So the problem was maybe it was just the way it was misworded and not understood. But when you start using the term clean up so we have them before I'm just saying, you gotta be careful because it was
Yeah, no, and you're right, and like I said, just probably my vernacular, getting me, but no, so what I mean by cleanup is typically the way it goes with email requests, you generally supply it's an Outlook file or a PST file. And it's not readable, and it's at least not readable to the common user. So with the Archive Social, we're able to take those files and import them into that system, and it makes it into a more readable, digestible format.
I guess
that's what I meant by clean up, not.
yeah, I guess if you use the word preserved in the original context.
Yeah, it does preserve the emails, but like I said, the redacting tools are for like if, I know there's ruling with, with the county attorney, like you have to not be able to have those, so they would be able to go in and, cover those up and stuff. But it tells you when it is redacted and stuff like that.
I mean, we just had Jack Smith, that happened to him in the Trump document case. They were trying to digitize it and they changed it. They changed a whole bunch of stuff around.
Yeah.
They moved the
Right.
timelines
Yeah.
to make their own narrative. And I-
So thank you.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you,
all
Mr.
we're
Creech,
doing
for the
is making
clarification. And I'll share this too, because I know on some of the FOIA requests and things like that, what we were seeing in that request was things dating back to 2011. I mean, there's not a good way to give the people what they want at this point. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's just
Marcus?
giving it to them in a way that's easily accessible.
Correct.
Because in the past, all we've done, we've just given them the PST files. And I know Google, they give, it's called Mbox files. And they're basically archives of the raw emails. And basically all the Archive Social does is it takes those files and makes it to where you can go through them, you can read them, you can see, you know, what is what. It's more legible. And that was the goal with the Archive Social, because I seen where they would help with that need. Plus, it has like it keeps an audit trail of the things, you know, like if we have like a FOIA request and we can track that stuff.
Yeah.
So that way, if there's any questions of anything that's done to those emails, you can see what's been done or what hasn't been done, et cetera.
I just have one more question on that. Was, what is the outline or the standard published beforehand of what gets redacted?
That's done by the courts.
I mean,
What can and can't be.
what constitutes a redaction? What's the thing, who makes that decision? Who decides what gets redacted? And can a redaction be challenged?
That's kind of beyond our capacity or
Well, we wouldn't be doing it, I mean.
well, no, he's not doing it. The things are
who's making
being,
the decision?
the things are being spit out of what's being asked upon and things like that. And the only thing that because it's one of those things where you do have attorney-client privilege, right? Is that correct? And Mr. Connor, I don't know, can you kind of address that for us? Mr. Connor's an attorney. He might be able to kind of help us out there with this question, and then we need to move on with the meeting.
I apologize, Commissioners, I was sending an email, so if I understood the question correctly, it was who is ultimately responsible to go through and decide what is redacted and what is the process for someone to challenge that. Is that correct? Is that going through Indiana code, there are several exceptions to what is disclosable and what is not. That is usually determined by the staff internally in conjunction with legal counsel. If someone were to, from the public that made the request, or even internally, whoever made the request has issues with that, they can seek relief through the public access counselor down in Indianapolis. And at that point, there's a process that they have, but the next step would be through the public access counselor, just to kind of keep it high level, so we don't have to get into the weeds of it, but that is the next step you'd have to do if you had issues with it. Does that answer your questions, Commissioners?
I mean, ultimately, any other redactions would be required by HIPAA law or any court.
Indiana code, HIPAA, federal rules.
Things that are redacted.
Yes, yeah.
Letters of confidentiality.
Attorney-client work product, medical records, deliberative materials, trade secrets, negotiations of land acquisition, things related to litigation. There's a wide list that can all be found in Indiana code under generally Indiana code 531. And then there's several sub-parts to that you can look through. But that is extensively laid out in Indiana code, and the public access counselor has quite a few resources, and even a handbook that they publish, I believe, every 2 years, that gives summaries and puts it into kind of best practices too.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. Got through that. We're heading to Mr. White. Good morning.
I'm going to tag along Mark, just to let you know, the highway's phone system's over 20 years old. And for the last couple of years, we're still on the old phone line system, and half the time our phones are out, and we kind of Band-Aid it back with AT&T to get them to work. So just you put that in here.
Just a comment too, I think this will be the first time that the entire county is on one phone system.
Yeah. I'll say we've never been on your system.
Good. Good.
Give you that information. Update you on some projects we've been working on. We've got about 6 miles of paving done. We did Central Avenue, 33rd Street, Lincoln, J, Du Bois, Old Kokomo Road, part of Harmon. And we're working on 400 West today, out just south of State Road 18. So starting on that project. Bridge 16 on EOW, between 600 and 700 north. They did pave it last week. The approaches, there was a kind of a little punch list that we went over when I was out there watching them pave on some things that they need to fix for us, some guardrail that like the galvanized that came off from the factory kind of thing. So they're gonna get with the construction company and get that repaired before we have our final walkthrough. So working on that to get that done. I did get the resolution all done on the DocuSign for federal and state NDOT projects, so that's all been taken care of. The community crossing bid for, I wanted to have it in May. I'd like to move it back to June 17th. We've got a little bit of more information we need to get for Bridge 84 before we put it out to bid. So I'm kind of going to hold on that, if that's all right, if we make it June 17th bid date. I guess along the lines of that, didn't know if you'd like to sign off on the front page of Bridge 84 for design for the, that'll go out actually on bid. So
We've already done all the approving we need to, just needs our signature.
right, yeah. That's just the cover page that I send out to the contractors when they go to bid on it.
We gotta do blue ink, black ink.
It don't matter.
Big contract.
Yeah. And also, just to kind of for your information, community crossing grant, the next opening for 2024-2 is from July 1st to July 31st. So Mark, if you remember right, kind of when we bid out these 3 projects that we're doing for the first round, if there's any money available, we'll reapply if we can for that. So just give you information on that. I just wanted to update you gentlemen that we did receive payment from Jonesboro on the pickup truck we sent them. They sold to them. And also we did receive payment about a month ago from Gas City's portion of Northway Road. So that's all been paid for and caught up. So let you know on that. I did get an email the other day from Carolyn Matchett on wanting to install a free library box out in Rolling Hills subdivision, which is off of State Road 15. We do have, there's one I seen in Glendale, down from your old house.
Really?
Yeah, so we do have them out in the area. I don't really have a problem. I just want to make sure it's all right with you gentlemen, that we can allow them to install it in subdivision.
It's going to be becoming a thing.
It's technically in the easement.
Yeah, it's in the right of way, but I mean, like I said, the other one, it's been there for years and I never really seen it.
As long as she understands we're not responsible with the snow
plows.
Yeah, or somebody takes it or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as long as you gentlemen are right with that.
I have no
consent to that.
Yeah,
right.
Consent.
Okay. And then, Mr. Wright, when you weren't here because of family emergency, This is for the right of way for the courthouse. Remember when they wanted to change the stoplights and they wanted to buy the right of way?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and I did talk to the gentleman. I believe the one on the northeast, they're gonna remove it and put it on the north side of the, and they'll change the walking pedestal. And then over on the other side, over by Central Dispatch, they're gonna move that back a little bit and put a new light and new pedestal for traffic or foot traffic. The commissioners have agreed to allow them, I think it was like $1,100 or $1,500 they were gonna pay for the right of way. So I sent that in and the good gentleman called me back and said, well, you didn't sign it. And I said, he was not able to make the meeting. I said, majority rules, but he said, well, no, I can't do it that way with the state. They want all 3 signatures. I was like, well, then
Here we go.
give me all the paperwork back. So I just actually need your signature. So then I can send it in and, yeah.
I remember this.
Okay, so I put a tab of everywhere that needs signed.
Okay.
So,
Take care of that.
like I said, he wouldn't let me go off of 2 signatures. I was like, well, they voted on it and everything. He's like, well, I need all 3, and I'm like, okay, then send it back.
We'll make that happen.
So that's all I have today.
I was going to ask you, when it comes to, I'd ask you about a stop sign out by Roseburg.
Yes, we're still looking at that.
Still looking at that?
Yeah.
I had another request.
Okay.
It's someplace, and I'll get you an actual address and stuff like that. I guess there's been a lot of accidents at one location on, I think it's 500 East over by Gas City. I'll get you an address, and if you could take a look at that one as well, because I guess there was a pickup truck rollover the other day and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think it's something that we need to take a look at for safety sake, just like it was out there at Roseburg. I think, especially with ground starting to go ahead and have corn coming up in it, and tall corn, I think we really kind of need to take a look at a couple of our locations for safety purposes if we could.
Yeah, yep. And probably, hopefully here in the next month or so, we're going to start on the drainage out of the EMS. So we'll get started on that. And then, if it's all right with you gentlemen, I'd like to have Chris Dyer from United come up and talk about the bridge inspection. Real quickly for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I got it right. Hopefully we don't have to read it.
No.
No test after the.
I'll slim it down for you.
Okay, thanks.
This is a master copy. I wanted to look through everything. Good morning. Hello. Chris Dyer from United Consulting, and we do bridge inventory. So I just want to thank you for selecting us to work with you guys to get your bridge inventory done. I've got 18 years of design and inspection experience with United, and I'm the project manager for your county. So I'm here today to give you updates on the last 2-year cycle of your bridge inspections. So the inspection contract covers a 4-year period. And federal highway requires that all your bridges be inspected every 2 years. Doing this keeps you eligible to receive federal funds for your road and bridge improvement projects. And the federal highway reinforces the importance of this program by reimbursing you 80% of the cost that you pay for the work to be done. So the binder you have there covers all 192 bridges in Grant County. And you are currently in full compliance with all the federal and state inspection standards. So we're here to present the final report for phase 2. This covers years 3 and 4 of the 4-year contract. The binder that you have there includes all of our inspection findings, summary tables, all the data, and individual reports for each bridge in the county, and also an updated priority schedule for bridges that we're recommending replacement and rehabilitation.
So we're just down to 3 on rehabs.
Yep.
Wow, that's good.
Yep. So the binder has everything in it, but that sheet you have in front of you is kind of a quick reference summary. The middle of the front page kind of shows you where some of the high-profile information can be found within that binder. The bottom of the front lists the bridges, the top bridges we have on the replacement and rehabilitation list, both for local funds and federal funds. And on the back side, that kind of gives you a comparison of where Grant County is in relation to the state average for all 92 counties. So as you can see, Grant County does have 33% more bridges than the average county. And with the average age and the bridges over 50 years old, both being higher than the average, but the number of load-posted bridges and bridges in poor condition being well below the average, just goes to show the work that's being done to proactively work on maintenance and to try to stay ahead of the deterioration on these bridges so that the maintenance costs are much lower than a replacement cost if it continues to deteriorate.
So you're kind of saying we need to keep David around for a while?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good.
Okay, all right.
So also in each binder, we got 2 other binders for the records, but it has a flash drive. On that flash drive, it includes everything that's in that binder. All the reports, all the data, the photos, the sketches, and it's all clickable. So you can click on county map, click a bridge number, it takes you right to the report. Click on the photos at the bottom, it'll take you to the extra photos. Just go back and forth without ever turning the page of that giant book. So probably the most important thing in that binder is the priority schedule. So that's where we look at all of your bridges and come up with a list of bridges that we recommend for replacement, both locally funded and federally funded, and rehabilitation. We look at a bunch of factors considering the condition rating of the bridge, the load capacity, the amount of traffic it carries, the impact on public safety, and the estimated remaining life of the structure to determine which category we put each of those bridges into. We also discussed this with David to make sure that the county's future plans or program needs are met. If there are developments going on, that we can accommodate those in our plan. So another helpful tool in there is the maintenance checklist. So this lists all the bridges in the county and kind of has a checklist on these categories shown here of just maintenance items that the county can do to maintain those bridges between inspections, just to make sure that they're staying ahead of any deterioration or riprap washing out or shoulders settling, that kind of thing. So on behalf of United, I'd like to thank you again for selecting us. And I'll answer any questions you have about anything bridge related, if you have any.
Questions?
No questions, just a statement. Appreciate United. They have done a great job for us over quite a few years. Been there when they've stepped up and helped us through some emergencies, and we appreciate the hard work that they do.
One question I have, are you coordinating anything with the State Road 9 bridge at all? I know that's a state type thing. How's that looking? Is that going to be on track?
I think it's still on track.
Okay. I was just kind of wondering.
I don't even know who the designer was.
Yeah, we're not on that bridge ourselves, and we wouldn't have any involvement unless they were using a county bridge as a detour.
Yeah, and I saw the Highland Avenue Bridge, which is getting a lot of traffic right now because of people heading that way to dodge the State Road 9. And is there any coordination between us and the state with things like that, or when we go to a project or anything? Because if you put that one out, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we do the unofficial detour with them, but like, since it goes through the city, they're pretty much dealing with all that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But yeah, we always work with them on other projects.
Okay. Yeah, and if something does arise where the state's gonna put a detour through,
your bridges.
You know about
We
that.
come out and we'll do an initial
Okay.
inspection before
Awesome.
and check it after if there's any deterioration.
Okay.
We've got proof then to take back to NDOT to try to get that.
There's a lot of traffic on that road now on Highland because of the detour. So, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate what you do. Mr. White, anything else that you have? Okay. Nope, I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Going into old business, ARPA spending discussion. Mr. Bardsley?
Understand that Mr. Stewart had gone to the council and kind of presented them a list of things that we were interested in seeing advance. I understand that only 2 items were agreeable at this particular juncture, and the fact that we have to, as the executive, assign the project and start that process, and then the council would appropriate the funds for those agreed on projects. I understand that the 2 that were at least held in with regard were the ambulance project, and the other one escapes me right now.
Annex for the elevators.
The elevator project for here. So I would move that we attach those 2 projects to the spending plan at the appropriate amount to be advertised, I believe. Do we have those numbers?
1.2 million for the ambulance, 650,000 for the elevators.
Okay, I would have those numbers added to our spend plan.
Okay. Ms. Jarvis, is that?
They have been advertised for the council meeting, so the additional appropriations will be.
We just need to.
So we just need to formally.
We have to formally approve that. I mean, that's a little bit out of sync.
So it can go to the council.
Right. So I would move to approve the elevator and the ambulance plan at those prescribed amounts.
Okay, and I'll second that motion. And with a comment of the ambulance purchase, those were for 4 ambulances. And we were going to do a loan, correct, Ms. Jarvis, on that? And that loan was going to, is that through the bond bank? Is that who that was through, or do you remember how we did that? Do you remember?
Crossroads.
Crossroads, okay. And, but due to the fact that we'll go ahead and pay it off with this ARPA money, it's saving the county $190,000 of interest, which I think is a good move for us as commissioners, the council as well, for approving that particular thing. So
I believe we're still going through them. We're just going to prepay.
Prepay, okay, very good.
Because the contract's been signed in motion.
Gotcha.
So to speak.
And I don't believe there was any penalty to that, correct? If I remember correct. Yeah. So it's a great deal, saving $190,000 in taxpayers' money.
So we just need to make it official.
Yep, that's right. So we've got a motion on the floor, second. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And so motion carries on that. And so when it goes on to the county council, they've got what they need for us, from us. Okay, perfect. All right. All right, moving on to new business. The number 1 thing on there was a memorandum of agreement with IW Terrace Street with the health department. That has been tabled. We're doing a little bit more research on that, my understanding, through the health department. And so we'll go on to the second one, and that is Mr. Davis. A presentation of scope amendment on the boiler chiller project. Mr. Davis, thanks for coming and enlightening us.
Of course. And thank you for having me, Commissioners. So as you know, we entered into an agreement with Ameresco late last year to replace the boilers and the chiller at this building, and it also serves the jail. Following that, the existing chiller has failed, or is in the process of failing. It has two compressors in it. One of them is completely out, so it's relying on just the one, which puts it somewhere under 50% capacity. So what you have before you is a scope amendment to Ameresco's agreement to rent a chiller for the summer. so that this building and the adjacent jail will have cool air for the summer months. For those of you not familiar with a chiller, it's basically the building's air conditioning. It's commercial air conditioning. The one that we have has 2 compressors, one has failed. We did procure 3 bids for this, working with the county and Vince. We found 3 different units. One was just under $100,000 for a 200-ton unit. One was $150,000 for a 230-ton unit. And one was about $220,000 for a 300-ton unit. What you have serving your building currently is a 260. That is slightly oversized, but maybe only 10 or 15%. So that 230 puts you right at what your capacity should be. That 230 number was provided by Amoresco, who is already under contract for this work. So this would have been within their scope of work had we known that that unit was not going to start up come start of April there. So we have a scope amendment to add this to their scope of work. I do want to say, late last year, even into late 2022, the commissioners had already started to prioritize this work. We did the conditions assessments of this building in late 2022, the courthouse, really the county-owned facilities, excluding the jail, because that was done under a separate study. Following that, we prioritized the work that needed to be done, and starting in July of last year, we started putting mechanisms in place to order this new chiller. So we went through procurement, through build, operate, transfer statute, selected Amoresco as our chosen developer, and had the new chiller ordered in February, early February of this year. So that chiller is already on order. It'll be here this fall. That doesn't really help us right now. So we need to have something to provide cooling for the summer season. Half of that unit is not going to get you through August. And that unit is also at the end of its life. If we spin that one compressor up to 100% 4 months on end, it's going to fail. So we do need to do something to provide cooling for this building. But all the work that's been done beforehand, you've saved yourself at least 9 months of effort. And what that means is you don't have to rent that chiller for 2 years, because we can't help the lead times of this new equipment. But because we already ordered it and it's going to be here in the fall, you saved yourself a whole cooling season. So there was at least $150,000 in savings there, if not more, because another year would have been another year of inflation on that unit as well. So unfortunately, the unit didn't start out the way we wanted it to this spring. We do have a solution. That solution's before you for $150,000 from Amoresco. Happy to answer any questions. This is not a change order of any sort. This is, we have asked Amoresco to carry additional scope, so that's being added into their bond agreement. This does not change any way that they would have advertised, or we would have advertised, I should say, for this procurement, because this would have been within their scope of work had we known that this was going to happen.
Okay. Questions?
Remind me, did we did the bot at 1.3 million?
Approximately, yes.
So in a sense, we're going to be just over that because of this particular thing.
Correct.
Procedurally, do we go back and ask for the additional out of ARPA? Do we have to, with our bot attorney in the room, do we have to go through that process again for the additional funds, or can we just go back and ask for the appropriation?
Mr. Sullivan, here on him,
there you go.
Commissioner, for the additional appropriation, if this number puts you above that 1.2, which is what you guys originally requested, you would likely have to go back to get that. appropriated, but, I just want to emphasize that this is a scope that was not contemplated at the time that you entered into that guarantee max price. And I think that if you were to present this information to him, that's what he would take to the ARPA committee and the council.
Very good. Thank you. I just wanted clarification.
It's a shame it didn't hold out one more year. One more year.
And we worked with Justin, we worked with Vince, we worked with multiple local vendors and with Ameresco reaching out to their kind of network of vendors, trying to find replacement parts for that unit. It's past the end of its service life. The refrigerant that it uses is not used anymore. It's honestly incredibly expensive to get that refrigerant at this point. So the best option at this point in time is the rental.
Well, we knew we were at the end of life. We were pushing to get this done, and unfortunately, this is a result of the end of life on a maintenance unit. So I believe that we have to move forward without any question. I don't know anybody on any of the floors that wants to work in heat.
No. Well,
we just don't do that anymore.
The inmates themselves.
That's right. That's right.
Mr. Camry, do you being the jail commander, I mean, this is pretty important to you, right?
Yeah, and with the unit being about 50%, usually the fourth floor in cell block B suffers, and so it's usually hotter there than it is on other floors. So a newer unit or something like that, those inmates always file grievances because of heat.
And then Vince, you see this as a need, correct?
Yes, definitely.
We've already had multiple service calls on our existing unit just to get it operating to the state that it's operating at.
I want to try and do an omnibus, if that's all right.
Yes.
I would move to approve the scope amendment number 1 to the original private agreement, addendum number 1, contract dated 2/5 of 2024, reference our chiller project, and that we approve the additional expense and agreement with Ameresco, and that we approve today the unpaid balance of the ARPA funds that were committed. Whatever that final number is, we ask for the appropriation for this project from the county council to appropriate.
Okay.
We'll get that number and incorporate that so that they can, at the appropriate time, advertise it.
I will second that long motion.
Sorry.
That's all right. And with the understanding that we've just got to do this. I mean, this we don't have a choice here.
Yeah.
This is one of these things that you're kind of backed into a corner.
Serves both buildings.
It does. You got to have air conditioning. So motion's on the floor. I seconded it. Any other discussion, Mr. Barnsley? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate your work on this. And it's above and beyond what we had originally planned, but appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
Mr. Davis.
We'll get you there.
Okay, thank you. All right. This next one is agreement for professional services for TSW. Mr. Kleinpeter, I believe, is online, I believe. And there he is. Mr. Kleinpeter, how are you today? There we go. I can hear you now.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Mike Kleinpeter with Kleinpeter Consulting. I'm an OCRA certified grant administrator that assisted the county in applying for and receiving a $60,000 grant for a countywide comprehensive plan from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. On February 5th, the county commissioners passed a resolution committing $7,500 of local funds to this project if awarded. In March, we were awarded a $60,000 grant. Therefore, I'm in front of you today with 2 contracts. The first contract is to Taylor Seifert Williams. The county went through a request for qualifications process, interviewed multiple firms, and ultimately selected Taylor Seifert Williams. Their contract is in the amount of $61,900. This will be paid from the $60,000 in grant funds and $1,900 of the $7,500 of local funds that was already committed. I have Scott, I think, online with me as well to answer any questions, and the attorney, I do believe, has reviewed this contract already.
Correct, Mr. Sato?
That's correct.
Okay, yes.
The second contract before you today is a contract for our services for grant administration. OCRA requires that a certified grant administrator is on the project. Our contract amount is $5,600, and that will also come out of the $7,500 that's already been committed. And the attorney also has reviewed that contract.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Kleinpeter?
That would be all.
Okay. Mr. Barkley, comments, questions?
I think the numbers all jive just the way that we anticipated, so I have no further questions.
Yeah, I would just like to make a comment. I mean, this is something that I have been working over probably about 1.5 years, close to 2 years now, trying to make sure that we do have a comprehensive plan. In a comprehensive plan, it spells out our needs, our goals, what we're wanting to do in life with our community and stuff, and we're working off of a comprehensive plan from 1997. That's what we're working off of. So I am very thrilled, and I can't wait to see what comes out of this. It's probably about a 1-year process. Would you agree with that, Mr. Kleinpeter?
That's correct.
We'll be getting together community members from a lot of different factions of backgrounds and things to make sure that we come out with a comprehensive plan that is good for the whole community. And like I say, I'm really excited about this. I know we've been talking about this for quite some time, and actually a comprehensive plan is supposed to be reviewed every 5 years. State statute states that. And so I'm glad we're finally moving forward with this and looking forward to seeing the results of that. I mean, and there's anything from education to population size to, I mean, you know, are we growing? Are we going back? What are we doing? I mean, really, this would be great for our community. So I'm really glad that we're finally making this happen. That's all the comments I have. So any other questions? And we have reviewed both of these contracts through our attorney, correct? So Chair is ready for a motion.
Mike, on your contract, you had Commissioner Stewart filled in already. Are you okay with us just marking that out? And Commissioner Wright?
Yes, that's fine.
When you ask for questions, is that questions from the public?
No, I don't think so at this time.
Okay.
I would move to approve the agreement for professional grant administration services as presented with Mr. Kleinpeter, and move to approve in the same motion the agreement with Scott, is it Skiefer of FASLA-AICP as presented.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? We've had our discussion about this. Like I say, I'm thrilled to finally be bringing this thing to bed, and I'll sign off on that. Chair's ready for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Kleinpeter. Looking forward to working with you over the next year and seeing where all this goes.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Sullivan, presentation of letter of engagement.
Thank you, Commissioners. This letter of engagement is for CO Coonrod and Company. This contract is to help with the the ARPA compliance and program services. They work very closely with Auditor Jarvis to make sure that all the back-end reporting, all the stuff that most people don't really consider or think about are taken care of, so that that Grant County is in compliance with all the rules and regulations from the Treasury concerning ARPA. As we've discussed over the last several months, those the requirements seem to change periodically from time to time. The Coonrod's team will help Auditor Jarvis make sure that she's up to date on all those rules, requirements, help with the compilation of all the documents necessary for the quarterly and annual reports, and to make sure that one of the ones I think we worked on Auditor Jarvis was the Gas City one, and how we went through and worked through and thankfully pointed out, say, hey, the contract, we're looking at this, we need to make sure it does that. So they'll help her as well with that. It is a do not exceed of $25,000, and it is highly recommended that someone assists Grant County with this, because it'd be truly unfortunate if everyone agreed on what to use the funds for, but then something wasn't taken care of on the back end and you have to pay that back. So these people, this firm will be there to assist. I believe they've actually, and Madam Auditor, correct me if I'm wrong, but they've met with you guys just the last couple of weeks or so.
Yes.
And so they came up here and helped out with that. They're more willing to come up here and sit down and walk through all that stuff. And so this is, I would say this is highly encouraged that you would bring a firm on like this. Madam Auditor, is there anything I missed, you think, on that, or anything you'd like to add for that?
No, it's just necessary to have them.
It's very necessary, yes.
Yeah.
And so just think of them as like an ancillary, role player for the commissioners and the auditor to make sure T's are crossed, I's are dotted. Any other questions, comments, or concerns, commissioners?
It's kind of like an insurance policy, more or less, the way I'm looking at it, with this amount of money.
Yes.
I mean, we're
Because
talking.
if we report it incorrectly, we run the chance of having to pay it back to the government.
Yeah, and for 25,000 to protect $12,000 or 12 million.
Yeah, it's a do not exceed, so it could be less than that too. And they provide an hourly breakdown too, and so it could be less. It is money well spent. Yes, it is absolute. I highly encourage it.
Okay,
ready for a question?
I am.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I would move to approve the letter of engagement with LC Coonrod and Company as presented.
I'll second that. And any discussion?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we've actually, this is our third group that's helping us, and we've got to have it done so that
we do.
I'm ready to vote.
All right, motion's on the floor, seconded by myself. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Connor. Appreciate you working through that and making sure that we're doing that. Thank you, Ms. Jarvis, for working with them. I do. I think it's a great insurance policy for $25,000 to protect 12 million. Plus, my understanding, it takes a lot of work out of your office.
Well, it's a lot of it.
Yeah, good. Okay, next up. That might be you, Mr. Camry. Sheriff must have had to leave. Ratification of an interlocal government agreement for Fulton County.
Sheriff, gives his apologies. He can't have another Department 11. I'll be fine.
Okay.
This has already been looked over by the attorneys. It's part of our plan to reduce jail population. Initially, we've moved to 27. It got us down to about 312. Currently at 323. We do have another set of people that we think we can move, and our goal is to get under 300.
Okay.
Just to clarify, this is a ratification.
Gotcha. And county council has given their blessing on this as well, correct, as far as the spending?
The appropriation for the, to pay for the other jails' housing. Obviously, we still incur medical.
Right.
But it's around $40 a day per inmate.
And just figuring out where all we're at on this. So how are you transporting them? What are we doing there? Have you had to hire more people? Where are we at with all this?
We foresee, and speaking as an advisor to the sheriff, that this can, and it has taxed us a little bit when it comes to transports. The bigger it gets and the more out of county that we have to go, the farther distance.
Yeah.
And since I am in charge of transports, what you usually have is that it will cost us a little bit more to get everybody going back and forth, because we initially sent everyone that was already sentenced and doing time here in the jail. So all we had to do, and you can see that the Fulton County ones is the one that we're talking about, is go a day before release. So we would go pick them up. And there's 3 that's going to come back here in the next week that we go a day before, bring them back, and then they're released the next day. So that makes the transports a little bit easier.
Okay.
As we move out and as we get more names on the list, these would be pre-trial, which means then that we can house them in other places, but we would have to go get them and bring them to court. And so there's a little bit of logistics that you have to work out with the court. So the court needs to notify us at least, a few days. We prefer but we've been in contact with the clerks. So we let them know who's out, right? Who's out of our jail, and then they'll notify us when they need them in court, and then we'll have to send. So obviously, we're always getting juveniles on Mondays and Wednesdays. We're all over the state doing that. Sometimes there can be a conflict there, so we've had to tap into some others in the jail that are certified transport officers. So we're building our capacity in that. But it also taxes your equipment too.
And of course, you couldn't just pick up a juvenile on the way back because they're going to be in the same vehicle, correct?
You cannot transport juveniles and adults at all.
Right.
So you'd have to send a separate vehicle for the juvenile and a separate vehicle for the adult.
Yeah. Oh, just a little bit of a mess.
Little.
Yeah. Okay, so what is before us is to ratify and enter a local government agreement between Fulton County and Grant County. It's $40 a day, not including medical, prescriptions, dental, whatever that inmate needs.
The good thing with Fulton County is that they have the same vendor that we have, which is QCC.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of good
talk back and forth. Yeah, good.
And so we can handle that within our vendor to make sure they can provide, but we'll pay for that service.
And how far is Fulton County from here?
Rochester is like 45 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
45 minutes, okay. So by the time you go there, 45 minutes drive, how long does it normally take to get somebody out and go?
Depending on how busy the jail is and how efficient it's run, it can be about 20 minutes to an hour and a half or so.
Okay.
If they're really busy with incoming or jail or whatever, we have to wait for them to get that inmate ready to go. Just like they do with us when we're busy and we have to transport. Other transports come to pick up inmates.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Chair's ready for a motion if you are.
I would move to ratify the interlocal government agreement between Fulton County and Grant County regarding the housing of inmates.
I would second that. Any other questioning that you have, Mr. Bardsley?
No.
Motion on the floor, seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Sure,
Thank you. Thank you. Please tell the sheriff thanks for what he's doing. All right. Presentation of resolution for appraisal. This is me. So I mentioned at our last meeting, Mr. Bardsley, that we have somebody that very well could be interested in our Salem Bank building. they have the wherewiths to renovate that and make it something special for downtown Marion. And we needed an approval to go ahead and get a appraisal on the building so we can move forward. So more or less, this is kind of what this is, to make sure that we get an appraisal, that the county is treated right, as well as the people who are interested in buying it. And this also says that we may be interested in doing a trade with some property that the current people have, which would really help us out with another department of ours. This can save the taxpayers approximately close to $3 million in renovation on that building. So to get a $3 million kind of albatross off our back, I think it's well worth the time to really dig into it and just see if we might be able to go ahead and unload a building that really is in need of repair. Would you agree with that, Mr. Hicks? Yes. And with the understanding that in the agreement, we'll be keeping Central Dispatch in the building at least for a period of 10 years until we can relocate them. Any questions that you have?
You've covered it quite well.
So I would entertain a motion.
What resolution would we be looking at?
8.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the resolution of number 8, 2024, resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Grant County, Indiana for the appraisal of real estate as presented.
I'll second that motion. And any other discussion?
Motion.
Motion on the floor, seconded, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are going to omit the public comment today, and we'll pick that up at our next meeting. For anybody that wants to go ahead and make public comments at that time. So motion to adjourn, or a motion to go into recess.
What are
you recess at, Steve?
In recess.
Who wants to do that? I guess it